All right, Carl Delmont here with you on a Weekend Real Estate Report. 410-583-1057. In-studio guest, Jason Cahalis, real estate attorney and also the principal at Mainland Realty. And now on the phone with us, we have Lou from HomeGain. Hey, Lou, how are you?
All right, Carl, how are you?
Not so bad. Thank you for calling in. I know it's early where you are, but I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So you have a radio show in D.C., right?
Well, I don't have the radio show. I'm a regular guest.
Oh, okay.
Ryan Sloper's Real Estate 360 in the D.C. Metro.
Okay. All right, cool. And I know that, I've been teasing listeners with the fact that you just gave a great interview to the Wall Street Journal. But before we get into that, let's talk about HomeGain, what it is, what it does, and all the great features there so that listeners, can go check it out. And if they don't need it now, in the future, they can know what's going on.
Oh, great. Well, HomeGain connects real estate agents and consumers. It's mostly for consumers looking to work with a real estate agent because we believe that if you're going to do a real estate transaction, you should be working with a qualified realtor. And on the site, you can compare real estate agents anonymously. You can get a free instant home valuation, and you can view listings. And then you can also look at the wealth of real estate information that we have to get some information so you can make an informed decision on buying and selling. And when you're ready to contact one of our realtors, you're ready to go.
Yeah, what I love about your site, too, is just all the surveys and the data and the tracking, everything else you do. And that's how we actually kind of met. I think I quoted one of your surveys, one of my columns, and one of your guys reached out to me. And I think we've been trying for 3 months now to hook this thing up. So I'm glad we finally got you on the air.
Well, thank you. The good thing about the surveys is we actually ask the realtors what their opinions are on the direction of home values, on do-it-yourself projects, and so on. So getting the professional opinion is probably better than just listening to national media journalists who probably don't know much about local real estate trends. So we like to talk directly to the realtors, get their opinions, and publish them.
Well, I know one of the surveys you did recently were the top improvements that actually help sell, but also the top do-it-yourself improvements. And then, of course, you talked about staging and some other things on there. So people can go in and look at this information as data, but they can also just type in the zip code and pull up not only real estate information, values, things of that nature, but also agents in that area that you guys have, vetted that work, that have met your approval process, right?
Well, the good thing about the Find a Realtor program is you get to fill out a profile telling us what you're interested in a realtor, whether you're buying or selling, and what your needs are. And then we send that proposal anonymously to a number of real estate agents in your area, and they propose to you. You know who they are, and you go into our control center, and you can read their proposal. So basically, you're interviewing them without them having your contact information, so you don't have to worry about getting spammed or constantly contacted by someone that you're not interested in speaking with. And when you finally compare the realtors on an apples-to-apples basis and you're ready to make a decision that you want to speak to someone, then you give up your contact information. You either contact the agent directly or you ask the agent to contact you.
Okay, that makes sense. I know a lot of people don't realize when they go online and then say hit agree that they're pretty much releasing all their rights. Are now able to be called for the do not call list. They're going to get email solicitations, all kinds of information. So that's kind of cool that you got to block that and let the person decide when they want to actually say, okay, now I want to introduce myself.
No, you're in control of the process because what I find out is that most professionals, they'll sell you anything. They'll tell you now's the best time to buy a home. Lawyers always tell you bring that lawsuit. But you need to be in control of when you're hiring a professional. And I think this product, the Find a Realtor product, allows you to take control of the process and make sure that the realtor that you're going to work with shares the same philosophy and meets your needs.
And you guys, because of the data that you do, because you go right to the sources and compile this yourself, you're constantly being sought after by, the Wall Street Journal, other major publications like Chicago, Sun Tribune, CNBC, and the list goes on and on. This is good information that people can have. Are you seeing a big trend now? I know that the states that fell the first, California, Nevada, Arizona, Florida, seem to be the ones coming back. Are you one of those that subscribes to the fact that the first to fall or the first to come back is a good sign, or do you think we still have a little bit of bumpy roads ahead?
Well, I think the first to fall in the lower-priced regions will be the first to come back, just because when the price gets low enough, you do attract investment. Mm-hmm. Some of the places, like California, is still very expensive, even though the prices may have gone from $600,000 to $320,000. That doesn't make it a good investment because you really have to, in order to buy 10, 20 houses, you have to have more capital than to pick up homes in Florida or Arizona that may be under $100,000 apiece.
Yeah, I think one of the things too is that people are looking at home prices and home values and deciding if it's time to jump back in again. But like you said before, it's important that when you're talking to someone, it's one of the things we pride ourselves on. The majority of our staff are salary, not commission. So, we'll tell you flat out, listen, maybe now's not the time to buy. I always say on the air, buying a home is a privilege, not a right. There's nothing in the Constitution that says everyone in America has to own a home. In fact, the homeownership rate, is down about 65%, which is a pretty good number. We were almost at 70%, and that seems to be the pushing point where maybe that's just a little bit too much. So, I think where we are now, things are going pretty well. Locally, we're starting to see a lot of things where multiple offers, which means the homes are being priced correctly, also means there's a decent demand, which you obviously need for a good economic recovery. But on top of that, we're starting to see people are looking at homes, they're making informed decisions. Not too much of this rushing in like we saw back in the day where people just put an escalation clauses sight unseen. I want that house. I don't care what it looks like. Just go ahead. I'll pay 5% more than the best offer. And I think that's where we got to, quote Greenspan, that irrational exuberance.
Well, the irrational exuberance was caused by the Fed by the low interest rates.
Mm-hmm. And some of the ridiculous programs even Fannie and Freddie were offering, and it goes on and on and on. And of course, we could go into the credit default swaps, and then the fact that the rating agencies weren't rating things, and on and on and on. So I mean, I think the usual suspects. I think there's guilt goes all the way around. But for now, the past is the past. We want to focus on what's going on in the future. But like I said, here locally, I think things are going very well. We're not seeing what I'm seeing now is educated borrowers. Dedicated realtors. I think we had a joke that we had a colonic, the bad loan officers, bad realtors got out of the market. What's left are the people that stuck through, the tough times because they love what they do. They're not chasing the money. They love what they do. And I think that's important as a consumer because we're the experts. We have to help you out and you have to trust us to make sure that we're looking after your interests, not, hey, how much commission are we going to make?
Carl, I'd agree with that. The only question I have is, I think right now you're right. You have a rational market where the buyers are in there looking to buy a home, not looking for 20% appreciation a year. They're looking for a place to live in. They're comparing rent prices versus purchase prices. They're comparing mortgages and so on. They're meeting with professionals. I think the one thing that's holding back the market, though, is there's many qualified buyers who just can't seem to get a proper loan. And how are you helping those types of buyers?
I just had someone call in a while ago off air, and their question was they've been renting for 15 years, they're looking to buy. Do I contact a lender first? I contact a realtor first? I kind of have an idea what I want to spend, but I have no idea about my credit or anything else. And I said, well, my opinion, you should probably contact a lender first. Let's get you pre-approved because your realtor's going to want that anyway. And then you could start shopping, realtors and figure out which one makes the most sense for you. But make sure you get a feel for what is your budget, because now you're not looking at houses. Get the budget down so you know your comfort zone monthly. Then we can actually work around programs. And one of the things we're seeing, I told him the same thing, there's a lot of programs out there. I just ran a clip a little while ago. CNBC had a clip on home buyers that are not able to buy. What were the two reasons that they thought they were locked out? Salary was number one with almost a third of the respondents, and slightly in second place, just by a fraction, was the fact of down payment. I don't think people realize that, the VA loan doesn't require a down payment. USDA doesn't require a down payment. FHA, you can get in with, 3.5%. And even conventional, you can get in as little as 5%. So the down payment shouldn't be as big of a hurdle, but we still have a lot of this stuff in the media being disseminated out there saying, oh, lending's so tight, lending's so tight. You compare to the Wild West of about 10 years ago, it's tight. But I think what it is now, it's just more diligent. You're being asked for everything. And if you say, I make $64,000 a year, and we find out you make 59 because you didn't get your bonus this year, anything that's different to what you originally tell the lender, red flags have to go up. And it unfortunately, this is the way it is because of the buybacks, the repurchases, and the uncertainty with Dodd-Frank and all these other things. I think lenders are a little bit skittish, and they're looking at the point where we'd rather do overkill and make sure we've documented everything to the best of our ability. Because what's interesting, Fannie and Freddie, their buyback requests have increased, but lenders are fighting them now and winning at an all-time record. So you're finding out that they're not just rolling over and saying, oh, because Fannie called and wants you to buy the loan back. I'm sorry that on page 48 of 72 pages, he signed in blue ink. I have no idea why, but everybody else is black ink. That's not a reason to buy the loan back. It's still performing. There's nothing wrong with the loan. But it got that bad. They were making people or requesting that people buy loans back that for what? No reason. And one of the things I talked about a couple weeks ago, back about 10, 12 years ago, it was very common for lenders in their reps and warrants to have a 10% variance in the appraisal at the time. That's why a lot of lenders went under. When the market changed and values started dropping, they got in mass quantities of buybacks because values changed. So that's another thing, too. It wasn't that the loans were bad or underperforming. It just that was a clause in the contract. The lender started panicking, saying, you know what, you signed this, you could buy these loans back, and they didn't have the money to do it. So I don't know. I'll shut up and let you talk.
Well, it's interesting because it sounds like what you're saying is that the loans are available, and if you work with a professional mortgage advisor and they walk you through the process to make sure that you're diligent, to make sure that you're honest, you can get the loan. But it sounds like people are used to being a bit cavalier and getting a loan, and that sometimes is shutting them down. Not the tight credit standards, but really the tight approval process.
Yeah, the process is a little bit more restrictive. And not everyone's going to get approved, but what we try to tell people is, let's get your information, see what we can do for you, and if we can't help you, we're going to tell you exactly why we can't help and what you need to do, and give them a rough time frame. You might be 3 months, you might be 6 months, you might be a year, and stay in touch with those people. But I can tell you that a high percentage of people that we're helping right now went to their current lender first and were told no, and then we're looking at it and like, no, you qualify for HARP, or no, you qualify for USDA, or you qualify for... We had one guy who was told he doesn't qualify for VA because he's never used it. It's been 20 years and it expired. There's no such rule as that. If you never use it, it's still there. So sometimes people are getting bad advice. But
well, current lenders too, they just want to tell you if you're paying the loan, they don't care. They just want to tell you.
I'm talking about pre-approvals. Yeah. Right. Hey, you want to take a quick call? Lou?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. Let's go up. Ro, you want to do that for me? I don't want to disconnect. We'll go for Rob in Perryville. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Right.
My wife and I, we thought the same thing where we couldn't get a loan and everything like that. But we actually, she through her networking groups, First Time Mortgage was the people we were going through, and talked to the lenders and stuff like that. And we actually did qualify for the USDA loan. We were working on our credit, trying to get it up to the 640 for the FHA, but then we found the whole USDA loan, which, from my understanding, it ends June 23rd.
No. They sometimes have to get more funding from Congress, but the reason they added the mortgage insurance component to the USDA so they don't have to be as reliant on them. So USDA is going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about them. But the big concern right now is flood insurance, which may expire at the end of the month.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that we had to actually, with the USDA loan, it only qualified for certain rural areas and stuff like that.
Yeah, Perryville, you're pretty safe.
Act or something.
Yeah, USDA is two things. It's based on the geography of the home. The home has to fit in the approved lending area through USDA. And USDA changed their map. They're going high tech. You can go to USDA's website, type in the address, and they'll do like a satellite photo, and they'll show you, yep, here's your house. It's eligible, and the maps and everything else. If your house that you're looking at is right on the line, then you want to call a lender or USDA and find out 100% that it's there. But the other caveat is it's based on the income. So your income can't exceed the median household income for that area. But if it does, there are some things you can do, such as, say you were paying $5 a month for daycare. Well, you could turn around and deduct that $500 to get you back down to those numbers. So we've had people who were told they didn't qualify because the loan officer just said, oh, you make this at your $800 a month over the median income for the area, so you don't qualify. Rather than saying, well, let me look at your tax returns. So what about this? They ask certain questions, and sometimes you can actually back down and get them to qualify. So it's a great product, but there's two caveats: the house and the income, and of course the credit, like you said, if your credit scores are there. But it's a great product. It has a very low delinquency rate.
Yeah, I know that. My question is because we actually go to settlement next week. And we were supposed to go to settlement last week, but the underwriters kicked it back because something happened with the IRS where we had to actually, in 2010, we had to amend our taxes because there was a difference because her company uses a staffing agency for payroll and stuff like that. And so we had to go through all that mess, but now everything's squared away. But my question is after we get the loan, go through settlement and everything like that, is it still possible to, get revolving credit right after you get into the house, or do you want to, kind of wait for a little while?
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to open up revolving accounts, you might take a small hit in your credit score, but you've already bought the house. I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you need the credit to get through, then, you might want to apply for something, but I wouldn't go crazy and start opening credit cards. You're going to get a lot of offers because the mortgage itself is going to improve your credit score because it's an installment debt. So that's going to be a good thing. But just like anybody else, you don't want to get too crazy and all of a sudden get a little bit credit drunk and start going out and accepting every offer that comes in the mail. So just watch yourself regarding that. Keep your balances low and, keep your budget in line because you're a very new homeowner. Something goes wrong, it's going to be on your dime. Dishwasher doesn't work. You got to fix that. There's no landlord to call anymore. So just make sure you're not using all your money. And that's beautiful at USDA, no down payment. You'll probably get a small check back at closing too for the earnest money deposit, which is good.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Good luck. Thanks. And congratulations on becoming a homeowner.
Thank you.
All right, Lou, we got one quick one and we got to go to break. So let's, can you hit me number 2 there, bro? Thanks. Johnny?
Yeah. How you doing?
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
I'm good. I got a quick question. A mortgage guy called me. I hadn't worked with him before. He said the MIP might be going back down in the next month or so because so many people couldn't qualify, because the MIP
for FHA?
Yeah, FHA.
Yeah, June 11th, it'll reduce.
Okay, because they said it had to be a 5% difference. My rate was 4 3/4. He said you could get down to 3 3/4, but it wouldn't lower the payment enough because of the MIP. But
yeah, the MIP went up so much that it negated the drop in the rates. But June 11th, FHA is going to change that. We were talking about it earlier in the show. So yeah, if you can hold off now, here's a question: you don't want to apply till June 11th. You want to wait. You want to get the case number after that, the application after that. If you get it now, then you may negate it from getting. So what we're telling people, wait till June 11th and then go up. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think rates will stay pretty low for a while, so you'll be good.
Yeah,
all right?
That is true. It is going. I think it's going up so high.
It's gone up twice since in the past year. So.
Okay, Carl, I'll let you go. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks a lot, Lou. We got to go to break. Can you keep hanging?
Sure.
All right, we'll go to a quick break. We come back more with Lou from HomeGain, and we're going to get into his Wall Street Journal column or article and a couple other things too. So keep listening. 410-583-1057.